Greetings, viewers at home. Sanbingelela Makaya. You are watching Esther for such a time as this. And of course, I am Sibongile Mbata, your host for the show. And we're still celebrating young abantu besifazane. We're still celebrating Imbogodo. You know, Esther, we believe in women empowerment. We believe in women standing together. We believe in women. So, Babugeli namhlanje, we are discussing a very, very important topic. Our topic for today, a queen manages her finances very well. Umuntu wesifazane uyawa manage ama finances akhe very well. And today I'm joined by another beautiful lady, a daughter of the soil. Owakhona khona la ekhaya eGNF. Siyakubingelela mama Ndaba.
Sawubona sis.
Unjani?
Ngiyaphila kunjani?
Good. Just greet the viewers at home.
Sanibonani baphulaphula emakhaya. Thank you.
Thank you. So, Mam Daba, you are in financial planning. Can you just tell us ukuthi wenzani kahle kahle?
Okay, uMamndaba ngingumama mina, ngingugogo, ngingusisi, ngingu-auntie. Full time, I'm a banker. And part-time, I'm a life coach. So in the banking, money markets, I'm in the treasury division in one of the financial institutions.
Okay.
So we do banking for all the clients. That's what
Welcome on Esther Show.
Thank you so much, sis.
Finally, you're here. Finally.
Finally, I have made it. I am so excited to be here. Thank you so much.
Okay, so how has been the pandemic for you? The lockdown, what impact?
The pandemic has actually impacted me like the most of the people, especially the side where we lost our loved ones, our neighbors, you know, the people that you know. It has been quite actually not a very nice thing. It has really affected me that way. And, you know, when we hear about the challenges, the challenges that people are faced with, you know, as like any other person, you get touched. Because I always say that I believe that we are all born to live a better life.
Yes.
But this time around, we didn't have choices of how to approach the situation.
Yes.
So I believe that, you know, when you're next door, when your sister is affected, out of humanity, you're also affected as a person. So you cannot be fine when your brother is not fine, when your sister is not fine. So your sister can be your biological, can be your neighbor, can be your friend. But if the other person is impacted, I was also impacted because of those reasons. Where you see people with no food, then the question is, what can I do? What can I buy for the person next door so that they also have something to eat? Because it's just those circumstances that they just happen, it's nature.
Yes. Hectic, hey?
Yes, but the other side of it, for me, it has helped me to learn what is important in life. You know, when they announced lockdown, everything was closed down. What I realized this time around, being a life coach, is that I realized that I had to find myself, my inner self, because we get so worried about the outer well-being and forget about our inner well-being. When I say outer well-being, I think I was one of those people that I'll be worried about how I look like externally, doing my hair, buying shoes, being in the car. But now when lockdown came, I was like, okay, here I am. All the things that, you know, were so exciting for me are no longer here. But actually it gave me time to look at myself, to pause, to take a break. And I realized that actually I needed to discover my inner peace. I really needed to discover myself. So it has helped me to discover what is important because, as I said, you know, when I say the outer well-being, I was worried about how I look like. But I realized that those things were not important. The most important thing was that God is keeping us alive. And here we are, still standing.
Still standing, surviving.
After everything.
Yeah.
It has made me to realize that God is so great. After all, here we are, still standing. We're talking here not because of our own understanding, but because of God's grace.
Yes. Yes.
So, you know, the pandemic has actually made me realize that, God, you are so wonderful. God, you are great.
You are great.
And it has made me realize that there are certain things that are important in our lives, but we didn't really pay attention to them. But this time around, the person I am today, I think I'm much better and I'm
Than
at
you were
peace.
before the lockdown.
Before the lockdown, I'm at peace. I found my inner well-being. You know, I needed my spiritual peace. I needed my emotional peace that I didn't realize I was struggling with until lockdown came.
Wow. I like that when you're saying that we discovered a lot about ourselves.
Yes.
I think during lockdown, that's when I discovered my purpose, this is what I'm supposed to be doing, in fact. So there's good in it, and I believe there's lots that's still gonna come out of the lockdown, and yeah. And Babukela Makaya, again, we are joined by Ubutu Charles via Zoom.
Yes, hi. Thank you so much for having me.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
We're good.
Yes.
We're good. And thank you so much for taking your time and joining us for Esther show.
It's a pleasure.
All right. So, Mamdab, I'm just going to start with you.
Yes.
So, based on Ubutu Charles, you're on Esther show. You are on Esther show.
Thank you so much.
What is it that you learn from the book of Esther? That's a standard question for me.
The book of Esther, for me, I find it very encouraging. You know, when you look at the history of Esther, the Bible says she was an orphan. Obviously, they're not describing what happened to her parents. Then we have Mordecai, uncle wakhe or cousin, but kuthiwa-ke iBhayibheli lithi ubekhuliswa nguMordecai. So uma sekudingeka wesifazane ozongena ecathulweni uma kuhamba iqueen, the first queen, kuthiwa kuzokwenziwa i-contest. So looking at her background, what touches me there is that, you know, most of the time we look at our background, we look at our situations, and we allow our situations to determine our future. But she doesn't look at herself as someone who's an orphan. She says, I'm going there. She goes for the contestant and for the beauty contest. Number one, I find that very courageous, because if it was someone else, she could have decided, oh, I don't have parents. She could have decided to pity herself and hide, because, you know, when things happen in life, we get to hide. What I'm learning from the book of Esther is that there will be challenges. You know, tough times are going to come, but they have not come to stay. They have come to make us stronger. And uma ngifunda incwadi ka-Esther, it makes me to ask myself, what do you do during the trialing time? Do you decide to go with God, or do you decide to go away from God? So what I love about the book, when you read Esther chapter 4, verse 16, where they realize that they're going to be killing the Jews and they have a plan, Mordecai just comes and say, you need to do something. But he doesn't say what is it that she needs to do. It means she's a very clever woman, actually. She takes initiative. She's very courageous. She thinks outside the box. And that moves me, because we need those kind of women who would think outside the box. And now when you look at incwadi ka-Esther, we tie up in Ephesians chapter 6, verse 13. Lapho kuthiwa hlomani ikhali zikaNkulunkulu khona ukuze nikwazi ukuma ngosuku olubi. Lapho senifeze konke nime. So what I'm learning from that scripture, Esther is that kind of a woman who's standing her ground. Sidinga abasifazana abazoma while they are being shaken. I said, you know, the other time, life doesn't have a recipe. And when tough times are going to come, they don't write a letter and say, we're going to be visiting you. Then my question to all the women out there, when those times come, what do you do?
Yeesh.
Do you run away from God or do you stand firm like Esther? So what I'm learning from the book of Esther is to be this courageous woman. And she trusts God so much. So Ephesians chapter 6, mighty hlomani ikhali zonke zikaNkulunkulu. She's that kind of woman who knows that you cannot do anything without God.
Yes.
Because uthi kubo uhlelo lwakhe lizohamba kanje, une-plan ne, but i-plan yakhe uthi sizoqala sifaste 3 days, 3 nights, three days, the nights and the days. And uthi naye neyisebenzi zakhe bazofasta. Uthi because that's kind of a connection with their God. Ukuthi lapho engenzekanga kahle khona, kwazi ukuthi kuxoleleke before the talk can take place.
Wow.
So mangifunda i-Ephesians makuthiwa hlomani ikhali zikaNkulunkulu, I think Esther understands the power
Of prayer.
of prayer. Understands that very well.
She knew very well ukuthi mase kushuba
Masekushuba.
ngiya kuphi. Asangasho ukuthi I'm the queen here. Of course I'm beautiful.
Yes.
Mangifika lapha kwi-king vele ngiyazi vele ukuthi uyangithanda.
Uyangithanda so
But
full.
instead wathi I know my redeemer lives, man.
Yes.
I know where to go to mase sishuba ngempela. Azange azenzele ngobuyena.
Yes.
Powerful. I like what you
uJob
just
uthi
said.
sekulahleke konke uthi but ngiyazi umhlengi wami uyaphila.
Eish.
We just need to go with that as women. Actually everyone, we need to go with that. Yokuthi ume sidinga abesifazana abazoma. Isimo sesingavumi sibongela ukuthi ume. So wazi ukuthi yo
Yeah.
ngisemalahleni.
Kodwa ume kunjalo. Shisa
Kodwa
kunjalo.
ume kunjalo uthi ngine plan uhlelo lwaNkulunkulu lo better than any other people's plan.
Wow.
So that's what I'm learning from the book of Esther ukuthi sibasifazane sidinga ukuthi sime. Sihlombe zonke izikhali zikaNkulunkulu. Ubonisa ifaith kahle kahle uEsther. She's the kind of a woman who's got so much faith in God.
Okay.
And into engithanda ukuyisho ukuthi uhlelo olungena misebenzi alisizo kusho ukuthi ungaba neplan but if you don't put it into practice,
What's the point?
what's the point?
Wow. Well, you know it's Women's Month.
Yes.
You know what, Esther, we believe in women. Esther, we believe in women empowerment.
Yes.
So during these tough times, during the pandemic, we're all worried about our physical well-being.
Yes.
But we also need to be worried about our financial status. So, Esther says, a queen must manage my finances very well. This is the topic we're discussing today.
Yes.
So, your queen, your bank balance must be, be healthy. Iphile. So
true.
I'm just going to ask you, during these trying times, what can we do to be financially healthy, to be financially stable? What can we do?
Ngiyabonga ngalo question. Ngiyabonga ukuthi sithathe with this very important subject because most of the time we'll talk about the spiritual part. Ukuthi uNkulunkulu uzosibusisa ngalokho nalokhana, but the question, as ngilapha kusho ukuthi uNkulunkulu masekubusisile uhlela kanjani lezo zinto uNkulunkulu akubusise ngazo? How do you plan your spending? Because angithi manje uNkulunkulu ohlelelekile. So meaning that uma sikubusisile ngakho konke, you need to have a best way of managing lokho akubusise ngakho. So today ngithi nje encourage ukuthi whoever olalela abalalele ekhaya ukuthi kumele sibe nohlelo la each and every part of our lives. Not just spiritually but financially, every part.
Yeah.
And when it comes to financial part of it, for me it plays a bigger role in our lives.
True.
Because if you go down financially, you can actually go down physically and emotionally you go down. So it touches on quite lots of stuff that you need to take care of. And asiqale ngale to be financially healthy. What does it mean to be financially healthy? It means if you are financially healthy, you are able to manage your finances. If you are healthy, you should uphila kahle ngokwezimali. I'm not saying that you should be a millionaire, but I'm saying that lokho ngane okunakho, make the best use of what you have. And do not be worried about what you do not have. Because uNkulunkulu uzokupha lokho, but you find that You are so worried about the money that you do not have. Then best uyahambe kwenza ikoloto because you're not happy with what God has given you. Low 10 rand onayo, low 100 rand. The question is that how do you make the best use of what you have without being worried about what you do not have? And financial stable, how do you keep consistency in managing your finances? Usunayo le mali, we are planning ukuthi okay, my plans are here and ama plans wami short term, medium term and the long term. We are planning ukuthi okay, le mali ngizoyidivide kanjani ukuthi ikwazi ukuthi ingisustain. That is financial stability. Yes.
Good Charles,
Yes.
can you also share how can we be financially stable or healthy during these trying times, the pandemic?
Yes, I think it's important that we realize that during this time, most people are losing their incomes, so most companies are closing down. So in that case, if you are in that situation or scenario where, you've lost your income, there are a couple of things that you need to do. Either there's government support where you can claim from UIF to try and pay your accounts or have some sort of income. But nonetheless, I want to talk to situations where there's some income that is there. What you probably need to do to be financially stable or healthy is you need to look back on your budget, do your budget as a household. I'm a family man as well. So what I had to do, if I give an example, we had to go through, our budget. What do we really need, or what do we don't need? What is that we can cut back? When you look at our budget, things like entertainment, I had to, cut back on some of those things. Also, if you have any investments that you're paying, for example, retirement annuities that you might be paying, for retirement, maybe it's time that you call in your service provider that you postpone all those retirement annuities so that at least you have some income on the table. So if you're looking at this situation that we have where incomes are tight, you need to revise your budget, and make sure that you have enough income to carry you through during this difficult period. Interest rates have been cut by the Reserve Bank, but it could not be. It cannot. If it's not enough, then you need to look at your household income and cut back so that you're financially healthy.
Okay. Thank you so much. I just want to know from you, Mam Daba, how can I create a priority spending? You touched base on the budget, but we're going to go there. How can I create a priority spending plan? A plan manje ukuthi okay. Income yami, because abanye balahlekelwe umsebenzi. Abanye akhathiwa ama salaries abo, but the business is not doing well. So manje sekumele prioritize ukuthi what is it that I need? What is it that I don't need? I think that's the most important thing. The plan. How do we do that?
We can do that. Number one, you need to know where you are currently, right? Because remember, you cannot plan if you do not know where you are. You need to know your financial status currently. You need to be in touch with your credit bureau. Know where you are. Because if you know where you are, you'll know where to improve. And now, how do you make your priority? If you know where you are, you know what to improve on, you need to start reducing your expenses. So meaning that you need to know your list of your income. If you're earning this, if you have 10,000 rand, for example, in a household, that is the income. List all your expenses or do your expenditure. Anything that you're paying out, you need to take that into account because you cannot prioritize if you do not know what you're prioritizing. So when you're listing all your expenses, maybe it's your bread, it's your groceries, it's your hair. So when you do your list of your expenses, you look at what is important in your life currently. Is your hair important? Are your nails important? Is your makeup important? So all the things that are not that essential that you can do without them, that you can live without them, that's where the priority starts coming in, where you start prioritizing. knowing that you have 10,000 rand and how much can you save. This time I encourage people to save more and spend less and have less expenses. That's where you start. And once you know that these are my expenses that I have for the whole month, and you discover maybe your expenses are even more than your income. Because most of the time, if you don't know what your expenses are, you are likely to spend more than what you earn. Your priority starts there. So now, as we're talking priority, I would request everyone to go to the drawing board. Get in touch with the credit bureau. We have different, we have I think 4, if it's not 5 credit bureaus. Go online and put in credit bureau. Put in all the details that is required. Know where you are, because your credit bureau would guide you where you are currently, because it will show you if it's amber, it means it's alarming. If it's green, it means it's fine. If it's red, it means it's bad. You need to do something. So all those color codes, they mean so much in your credit bureau. So today, I just want to say to someone, know your financial status. To all the ladies out there, the first thing to start with, know your financial status. Know where you're standing currently. List all your expenses. That's where you're going to start, and prioritize from all your expenses. Like what Charles has indicated, entertainment. Do you need entertainment during this time, these trying times? Then if you do not need it, you can cut. You'll be surprised that actually you'll have 5,000 rand remaining extra.
Because you know, viewers at home, we ladies like to spend.
Yes.
We like to shop. I know, because I love shoes. I'm one of those people, engangene mall ngiyothenga cabbage or ama veg, but ngiphume with a pair of shoes. So ladies, as Umamdaba just said, prioritize ama spending akho. Spend on what you really need. These are the trying times. We all, I had business women here, and Bati, they're not doing well. So everyone is not doing well. We didn't plan this. Let's not expect this thing is going to hit us so bad. So right now, we need to prioritize our spending. But Charles, do you want to add something?
Yeah, so one of the most important things that, we also need to look at in our day-to-day lives is that most people tend to rely so much on borrowing money, to sustain their lifestyle, which I find to be, something that leads people deeper into debt. So we must change our, money habits, learn to spend less, like Usis said, and also, learn to pay cash. Learn to pay cash and spend less. That is, one of the key things that I'm also speaking to some of our clients. If we have that habit, where we're always paying cash for stuff and staying away as much as possible from credit, we will come to a point where we're even able to invest, in future, because we're not borrowing from what we're earning now. We're able to save money and invest. That is what we can do. Okay. So the motto is pay cash and less, spend less.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, interesting. Okay. But okay, you've both of you guys, you've touched base on savings.
Yes.
That it is important. What is savings?
Savings, in simple terms, is just to put something aside. Okusho ukuthi uma utholile u5,000. I-savings ukuthi kule 5,000 andizukuchawisha yonke into, awuzutya yonke into mosne. Uzawuthatha enye ubeke ecaleni. Just savings is just to put aside something.
Okay.
It means you're saving for the rainy days. You're saving that you have something when you need something.
But uzotekaya, hi guys, they've just cut my salary.
Yes.
Ngizosave kanjani? Already bakhathi salary yami seyincane mos le mali le nithi ngiyabheka la angiboni ukuthi ngizosala namali.
That's where Upa Charles has mentioned indaba ye budgeting. But okay, manje ke kahle bengidinga malini to live my life. Manje ke okay bengidinga mhlambe 10,000 manje ke sikhathi salary. It means you need to revisit your budgeting now and say, I used to get this much and now I'm getting this much. Out of this 5,000 that I'm getting, how can I make the best use of what I have and not or stop worrying about what I do not have, right? Because angithi manje awusayitholi 10,000 emsebenzini and awuzuloku uhlezi uloko ucinga mosiba hayi benifumana 10,000 and ngoku andisenayo ngoku ngizakwenza njani, ayikho. So now as we started earlier, I said just make the best use of what you have. So now you have the 5,000 rand. Start now working on that 5,000 rand, as Upu Charles has said. Start budgeting with, okay, kule 5,000 bayikhathile years. Eziphi izinto ezi-important in my life? Eziphi izinto engingaphila ngaphandle kwazo? Eziphi izinto ezi-essential, like your food, your groceries, maybe your water and lights. Those things you need them, you cannot do without them. But anything else that you can do without it, it means it's a cut. Kule 5,000, you just need to find ways. Unfortunately, we cannot blame the government, we cannot blame anyone. It's the nature that it's taking its course in this instance. True. And we just need to think outside the box. We need to find ways how we can better manage our finances during the current circumstances.
Yeah. Well, Charles, do you want to add something?
Yes, so in terms of, for those that have an income, right, it's important to save, you know, how do you save? So it's important to know, you know, I normally advise people to raise something close to about 10,000 for, you know, if you still have the income, put aside 10,000 for the rainy days, 10 to 15,000 aside, you know, for those rainy days if they come. Then as time goes on, you know, if you have that 10 or 15, you start attacking your debt. You understand, if you are in debt, then once your debt is paid up, then, you know, those are like baby steps that I'm trying to, you know, put forward to say, how do you tackle debt if you are in a situation where you have debt? So saving, first month, you know, first time you want to save money, probably save 10 to 15,000, then you go back, you attack your debt. After that, you can raise up now your savings to cover 3 or 6 months of your expenses. So that, you know, if you're laid off or if anything happens, you have savings for 6, you know, that can cover 6 months or so of your household expenses. So that's how you should save. You first, you know, raise up a certain amount, then you attack your debt, then you go back again and you increase your savings to 3 to 6 months. That's how you save money. And then you know you're covered. You won't struggle. You won't need to borrow.
Yeah. Wow.
It sounds difficult.
Yeah.
It's difficult, but it's doable.
Especially in these trying times.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's doable.
It's doable, but yeah.
If you still have income, that's how you need to. But if you don't have income to save, you know, it's all about cutting back what you have and looking for, you know, those credit lives. Go through your policies. You know, credit life. Some people don't realize that they could have a policy aside. You know, like you're paying your debt for African Bank, for example, or I'm just giving examples, or any other credit provider.
Yes.
Take a look at it. See, check if you are paying any credit life towards it, so that they will cover your debt. You know,
Yes.
so some people don't realize. Those are some of the things that can help during this time if you don't have any savings to fall back on. UIF, you can go and claim, so that at least you can, you know, survive.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting. You know, most of the time, especially with savings, we believe that I have to spend and then save. But funny enough, with savings, you have to save first and then spend what you have left with. But in a sense, the other way around. We spend and then yes, I could 10,000 rand, I'm saying 1,000, then I can save. Am I right?
Yes, you're correct.
Yeah.
I think it's just the education that is needed here. And we need shows like this. Because I think I'm just going to challenge everyone and say we need shows like this. Whoever olalele umpulapuli, we need shows like this. Because there is less education on our finances. And also understand that if you were to go for a financial seminar, you need to pay. But we do not have people that are going down to our people out there where the real situations are.
Yes.
And go and teach. We need to evoke. We need to stand up and try now and have this kind of topics cascaded down to our people. where we teach people in their own languages. Because manje, you understand umuntu ongenamali, or ucabangela ukuthi okay kumele ngithenge isinkwa, ucabangela ukuthi kumele ngigibelise umntana. Manje ke nansi semini yenzeke esentini. I mean, you don't even have a car, for heaven's sake, to go to Sentin. And they yenzeka ngo-9 on a Friday ebusuku. Uzobuya ngani. So those are the things mina ngibona ukuthi ziba i-challenge. And i-education iyaleka, hayi ngoba abantu bengafuni ukufunda. Iyaleka because maybe the resources or people like us who are life coaches, we're not doing enough to actually go to our people down there and have the teaching down there.
Because I feel, you're right, we need to be educated, especially with us Africans.
Yes.
Tina, we've got this mentality of, I need to work and spend. Yet people, if you can look at the richest of the richest, Tina, when we got the income, either we spend, we save or we invest. But with us, the other class, Tina, once we get the income, we spend. That's why we remain as poor as we are. Because I think we're not taught about how to manage imali.
Yes.
We are not taught about how to manage. Let's say, Bishop angithandazele ngibe a millionaire. But if I'm not educated enough, how do I manage my finances? I can blow out that million within days.
Yes, yeah. That's correct. I agree with you. Some education is needed. And njoba ngishilo ukuthi ayikuthi abantu abafuna ukufunda. But there is just a lack of knowledge. You know what, we do have these resources. But if you have to take someone uthi ngena ku internet and learn about financial management, sikhuluma ngokuthi omunye umuntu akanayo nemali esinkwa. Sikhuluma ngokuthi internet kumele ugibele tax ukuthi ufike kuyona. So ngiyangithanda ukuthi as a life coach we need to be very practical with the situations that our communities are faced with. Understand what our people are going through. So that when we have sessions like this, it's better to know that, okay, these are the challenges that our people are faced with. How can we better go? We have abantu abafana nabo Charles. We are here.
You guys are here.
We're here. So people need to make use of the available skill that people have. And ngiyajabula nje ukuthi kule show namhlanje we're talking this because I think we need to have more of these sessions, especially the financial side of it. So that our people, we can help them. Ukuthi njengoba manje ke sekunje soluza umsebenzi, how do you move forward? Awuna job, awuna kudla. What is the way forward? Where do you start?
And it says okay, yes, I believe in God, so right, but these are the worst times.
We need to be practical.
We need to be practical.
We need to be practical. So kusazoba nzima. It's just the beginning currently. Because if you look at the economy right now, most of the companies actually have closed down, but we still have more companies that are actually going to be closing down. And with the model, you know, the ways of working that are changing, it's going to have a huge impact to other people. And that's where I always encourage people and say, if you are working where you are working, what is your plan B? If the company osebenza kuyona has to shut down, has to be bent down, and exasa navuka company iseko, what do you do? While you still can, because you're not going to try and plan while the company is closed. You need to start now while you still have income, while you can still go to school and improve yourself with what you have and have a plan B.
Yeah, wow. Okay, can you just help us to differentiate, okay, we've described the savings. What is investment? What do we mean when you say you need to invest? Okay, I'm understanding manje. Can you ask us, mangithiwa ngiyasave, maybe ngilahlela 500 rand ebhenki yami every month. What is to invest?
To invest, after you have put aside something, now you have this intention. Ukuthi manje sengifuna ukwenza imali manje. Ufuna le mali engiyibekile ngenzela imali. You take the money that you have put aside. You go to a bank and you invest. It means you're putting it somewhere with the intention of getting interest out of it. That is investment.
Okay.
There are different ways of investing. Someone would say, I'm going to put it in the bank and earn interest. Someone would say, I'll buy property. So when you invest, You don't buy clothes and say you're investing. Ne? Those are perishable things. Those things, those are non-durable. It means you cannot use them for a longer period. Those are non-durable goods. So meaning that most of your investor, you're looking at something that is durable, that's going to have a value, that is going to be an asset to you. Because remember, we're talking assets. Asset is anything of good value that you have that you can keep, yes. And and the value, it increases all the time. Then we have a liability, so you cannot say you're investing by something else or by something else or by liability. Yes, so you cannot buy a car and say you're investing in a car because the value of a car depreciates, it goes down. So maskuluma investment, you're looking at things, assets that will generate income for you. It can be property that you buy, you rent it out, and the value of the property goes up every time. Whether the times are bad, but the value of the property will remain intact, unlike when you buy anything. So investment is where you just take that money, you put it somewhere with the intention of getting interest. And you can only invest when you buy assets, not using it for your liabilities.
Brother Charles, so you want to add?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so basically investment is, just is buying any asset, like Usisi said, Sispet said, is buying an asset with the intention of, making more money out of that asset. That is investing. You can buy a property, you can buy, you can buy stocks, so all those are asset classes that you can buy with the intention of now making money out of that.
Okay.
Yes.
Because I think with us Africans, we don't understand this. Uguti, for you, you must have assets.
Yes.
Because assets, okay, from my accounting level knowledge, Uguti, it's something that you control.
Yes.
So I can't be buying a car, saying I'm investing, I've got an asset, which is a car. Because every month I'm paying this car. And the worst part, the motor depreciates and jalo.
Yes.
So you can't be owning motors of $1 million, yet values keep depreciating daily.
Yes.
And also, confuse buying a house, a bond. It's an investment. For 20 years. 20 years, I'm paying it. For me, that's not an investment. That is not yours because you say patala unless you've got tenants there as a generator the cash for this house. Then you can say my house is it's an investment and I am owning that house. Because I think when it comes to cars, we buy cars like the most expensive cars. Awunayo property, awunayo asset. It's a liability nje le moto yakho ye-1,000,000 ye-500. Yet that you can say it's mine.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
You touch based on the budgeting. What is to budget?
To budget, it's a process of having a spending plan. It means now you're putting a plan in place. You're saying, I need to know how to control my finances.
Okay.
So that plan that you put in place, that process that you go under or you undergo or you go through, that is budgeting, where you know that my income is this, my expenses are this. That is budgeting, where you know that, okay, I cannot afford, they call it full banquet DSTV. Okay, I can afford the 100 Rand one. That's budgeting, where you prioritize. So budgeting is got to do with prioritizing, and it means you're just putting a plan in place, how you're going to be managing your finances. That's what budgeting is.
Brother Charles, do you want to add something?
Yeah, so budgeting is basically an act of, where you sit down and you look at what you use, how much is coming in, how much how much income are you bringing in, and how much is going out. So just doing that, it's a budget. You know how much is coming, how much you take home. You sit down, you analyze all your expenses. So whatever that remains, you know whether you have a surplus or a deficit on your budget.
Yes.
Okay. During this pandemic, they spoke about the payment breakdown. Payment break.
Yeah.
Yes. What is that?
Ubo Charles will take us through
Okay,
that.
Brother Charles,
Yeah,
please
so-
take us through.
So what has been happening is that there was, during this pandemic, because most people are struggling to service their debt commitments or monthly payments, most banks or credit providers were offering payment relief. You know, for example, let's say you have a home loan, right? And you are struggling to pay that home loan. The banks were giving 3 months, you know, where you do not pay anything for those 3 months, you know. So that was basically to just help an individual so that during this difficult time where finances are scarce, they are able to continue and they don't, you know, lose their income, lose their homes. So yeah, that was payment reliefs that were coming through from the bank.
Okay, so what if due to this pandemic, I cannot
Yeah.
meet the requirement to pay my debt? I can't meet that obligation. I'm saying I income that is coming in, I don't have enough money to pay isikweletu sami. What can I do during this time?
Yeah, so the first thing is you approach your bank or the credit provider, and then you know, if you're working, you provide them with the retrenchment letters to show that you are not able to, you know, you're not able to continue paying their accounts. That is the first thing. So in terms of the payment reliefs that were coming in, they were also assisting people in that situation. So if you're not earning any income, also, you know, things like debt review will help. If someone like has a cut in income, like you lose your job, you get another job, and you get a job where you are paid less, you know, and you know that, you know, probably you're earning 50, now you're getting 25, and you have payments that you need to make to the credit providers, you know. So you end up applying for debt review. It will work in that case because you have some income that is coming in. And your debt counselor or a debt review specialist will then approach credit providers so that they lower the installments that you are paying. So those are the things that you can do. If there is no income completely, the first place to go is to speak to your credit providers and see how much relief they can give you, so that when you are under that relief, you go and look for a job so that you can continue paying as you go. They'll give you some months. Yeah.
Okay.
And just to add on that, as Upo Charles has said, you need to contact your financial provider. But you find people ukuthi bazitshela ukuthi masibayazi ukuthi kune-pandemic. So you don't just sit and assume that they know. They don't know. They don't know that. You need to take that initiative. You need to own that as a data that you have. It's your own.
an obligation.
It's an obligation. It's in your own rights to be sure. It's your responsibility to do that. Contact your banker. And I mean, the queues are long. We understand. We all go through that. So the queues that are long, it's not an excuse for you not to do what you're supposed to do, what is right. So people must do what is right. Contact your institution. Share with them, this is the situation, as Upo Charles said. And when you see those calls coming, you know,
Don't ignore.
don't ignore. And when that letter comes, open those letters. Don't ignore, because they would have communicated with you, or that's another form of communication. It's either they send you a letter or they phone you. But if you ignore those calls and you do not read those letters, you ignore those letters, they can say, we sent this notice and we sent the notice on this date and it was delivered. But, you know, people must take it serious to open the letters, to answer those calls, and to communicate effectively with their institutions.
Wow.
Yes.
This is very interesting because I think thina abantu abamnyama we don't take this serious. Ukuthi just isikoloto esiyi-1 ongasibhadalanga, it can affect you for the rest of your life. So ukuthi awusakhona ukuthenga this, awusakhona ukuthenga izinto oyifunayo in future because you didn't take a responsibility to follow the correct rules. Oh, okay.
Yes.
And I believe ukuthi this thing yokuthi ungabi namali, uba kuma-debt, inama effect awenzayo kithi, whether it's physically, it's emotionally. what can succumb to that, Mom? What are the effects of us ukuthi singabi namali?
You know, when you don't have money, like stress, and ngathi ingqondo ayibambi mos ne xa ungenamali. So, and you know, you lose everything actually. You can lose your home that you have currently. You can lose even your family. Because remember, you cannot run away from the fact that imali has a power up to a certain level, because you need to pay for your rental if you're renting. You need to pay for your bond. You need food. You need clothing. Or maybe you need shelter. And if you do not have all of those, you know, you can find yourself being emotionally strained or sick. And obviously there's just more into that that we're going to touch after we just finish with this. Like when Upu Charles has touched on the debt review. So I would like us to also touch on the issue of over-indebtedness. Because now if you find yourself in that situation, it means you can be over-indebted, that we call that over-indebtedness. Meaning that you can be insolvent, the law of insolvent can apply, and you can be bankrupt. Because if you fail to pay all your creditors, they can come together, and the law of insolvents comes in, it kicks in to say, if you're failing to honor and pay all your creditors, they can come together and they can apply for you to be bankrupt. They can apply the law of insolvents.
Unfortunately, our time is up. But thank you so much, Charles, for joining us. We will invite you again. Just that.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, thank you.
A pleasure.
All right.
A pleasure. You're welcome.
Okay. Mam Dawa, thank you so much for coming into the show.
Thank you.
And thank you for such information and such powerful, you are a powerful resource that we need to use like GNF. And we really appreciate your time. And can you just a second, a message to the viewer, to our ladies, based on this topic of a queen manages her finance very well.
To all the ladies out there, just know your financial status for today. Know what you're spending your money on. Know what are your expenses. Know what is your income. Know your credit status with your credit bureau. And then it's going to help you to prioritize your expenses. Because if you do not that, you can find yourself being bankrupt. And if you run away from paying your debts, the creditors can come together and they can apply for a sequestration order against you. Everything that you have can be sold out and they can raise the money. It means you'll be just bankrupt.
Thank you so much for coming into the show.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for coming, and you are the Esther of today, and you are raised for such a time as this.
Thank you so much for having me. It's such an honor for me to be here. I really appreciate it. And anytime you can just give us a call so that we can talk finances and we can talk life coaching.
We're definitely going to call you back. Yes. Viewers at home, there you have it, ladies. Oh mama, oh pets, no brother Charles, but know where you are in terms of finances. Know your financial status. Know where are you spending on. Prioritize. I know with us ladies, we like to spend, we like to just, I get into a mall and I just buy a pair of shoes because I love shoes. It's always shoes.
It's 1,000 rand.
And I'm wasting money. So during these trying times, we need to prioritize, budget, save, invest, but just be financially healthy. Yes, we are at the moment looking at being physical and like the physical well-being, but we also need to look at our financial status as well. So from us on Esther Show, we say rise queen, rise Esther. You were raised and born for such a time as this. Bye.